You're listening to Media Savvy Moms with Melody and Marilyn, a podcast by Parents Aware, your go-to for information on how to talk to kids and teens about pornography and healthy sexuality.
And we are back with another Q&A episode of the Media Savvy Moms podcast. If you have any questions that you would like to have us answer on air, please submit them to admin at Parents Aware or contact us through direct message on any of our social media platforms, and we would be happy to answer your question. So today's question has to do with screen time. How much screen time is recommended for each age group? Well, there you go. That is a question, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a question I think a lot of parents have. And we did look up the recommendations from the American Academy of Pediatrics and recommendations from the World Health Organization, which agree with each other. So, infants under a year to 18 months, the recommendation is no screens at all. From ages 2 to 5, they recommend a maximum of 1 hour of quote, high quality programming. So, well, that's needs some interpretation, I think. And ages 6 and up, they recommend consistent limits. But they point out that it shouldn't replace sleep, physical activity, and other healthy behaviors. So, if you're looking for cut and dry kind of recommendations, they have it from ages 0 to 5, but 6 and up, we got to use our brains as parents and kind of make our own limits and boundaries, right? We got to think through this together as a family.
For sure. And I'm just going to say it, one of the challenges of raising kids today in this media saturated world. Screens are everywhere, and it's a burning question that we all have. How do we balance that? And I think if you're asking the question, then you're probably doing a pretty good job,
Mm-hmm.
because what we've found, and I found this, I watched the movie Screenagers. It's a documentary film by Delaney Rustin. And if you have an opportunity to watch it, I highly recommend it. I think, was done in 2016, but it's
Mm-hmm.
very relevant. Really, it follows a family and a mom asking questions about her son and daughter's use of technology and what their wants are compared to what her concerns are, and how to meet in the middle. When you're setting screen rules up for your family, always do it together. But
Mm-hmm.
as I love that you answered just from the, like, directly how much time for each age group. And then you have to, as a family, decide for yourself how you're going to manage that. And I'm kind of stuttering on my words here, but what I'm trying to say is that your presence in your kid's life, your presence in your kid's screen life, whether that's video games, whether that's television, whether that's their cell phones, that is what's going to help them develop really safe screen habits. And we've got some great resources to help you work on that within Parents Aware.
Right. Definitely. This is something that we are striving for at Parents Aware and Media Savvy Moms, is to help you problem solve through this and answer it, because it's not a cookie cutter question for all of us in different families, in different circumstances. And we just had an interview with Chris McKenna from Protect Young Eyes, and he's our tech guy. We talked to him about filters and parental controls, and we talked a little bit about screen time. And we were talking about how, with the quarantine and everything that's going on right now, it's getting a little muddled, isn't it? What does screen time mean? We have, especially as we're stuck, school is on screens, and work is on screens, and entertainment is on screens. It's all mushed
It's true.
together, and
More and
so.
more, our kids' lives seem to be on screens, and we have to.
Right. And ours too, right? And so when you're asking this question, how much screen time is recommended? Like, where do we put in those categories? What does screen time mean? Because now, especially with our kids being homeschooled, with technology. We can't say, how much control do we have over it? And also, for me, having a middle schooler bringing a Chromebook home, and he's telling me my teacher requires me to do my work on my Chromebook, I can't step in and tell him, no, you're not allowed to have screen time because you're not allowed to do your homework, right? So we lose a lot of that control now compared to like 10 years ago, right? Because it's coming into our lives. But we want to emphasize, and something we talked about in our screen time episodes in the past, is to stop looking at screen time as good or bad, and instead to be instead of fearing it or making it the enemy, to consider priorities as a family.
Yes.
And going back to those recommendations from the World Health Organization about thinking about sleep and physical activity, and we used the jar analogy, right? About what are we filling in our life jar, the big rocks and then the little rocks in the sand. We want to be careful that the screen time isn't all the big rocks, and then we're not fitting in all of the other sleep and healthy things, right?
Absolutely. If you're concerned about your kids' behavior, meaning they can't let go of their screen time, it's time to reassess and really sit down.
Mm-hmm.
It's not time, it's past time. So hopefully we're doing that before, and we're having this ongoing conversation about balancing, helping them always balance that screen time with non-screen time, and be upfront and honest about why you're concerned. Like, it is designed to hook and and keep you attached to the screen. We know it as adults, it's hard to walk away. And
Mm-hmm.
so help them understand that, and so that they know that when you're asking them to do non-screen activities, why they're doing those.
Right. And also to understand that we are going to make a plan as a family, but it's going to grow and morph and change. And if we're looking at this plan that we've made and we have fallen off it,
Mhm.
and we're not doing and it's okay to stop, reassess, do it again, right? And it's
And
okay.
the older your kids get, the more their voice needs to be included in that plan.
So we do have a resource for you. We did a show on this. We're answering your question in a short little format today. But if you want more conversation on this, episode 113 was too much screen time. You can listen to that.
Also, we had Andrea Davis of Better Screen Time on the show. We interviewed her, and one of the nuggets we took from that episode was this: what really matters are those connections that we have with our family.
Yeah, that was a great episode too. Also, episode 1, 2 with Andrea
2-1.
Davis. Actually, that was 2-1. That was that was season 2, episode 1. So, a challenge for you guys: have a family power meeting and make a list of all the unplugged activities that you love to do together. Now, if you've downloaded our quick guide to better screen habits, you may recognize this activity because it's one of the steps in our quick guide to better screen habits. But you can do it just all by itself. Have a family power meeting, ask your kids, hey, what do we love to do together that doesn't involve screens? And just see what you guys come up with.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Media Savvy Moms podcast. For detailed show notes and links to any of the resources mentioned today, visit parentsaware.info. To connect with us on social media, find us on Instagram at Media Savvy Moms and on Facebook and Twitter at Parents Aware. We would love to get your feedback. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review wherever you listen to this podcast. Until next week, let's keep talking.